getting a sponsorship proves you to them saying like they're sponsorship worthy. They want to approach you more now.
For us, we got that first one and then the floodgates opened. Month one, it was like 2 emails. The next month we got 7 emails to the point where we started saying no to certain people.
One thing I want to ask about, because you're in charge of the sponsorships that come through, describe to me how that goes in general, how it's slightly more complicated because of we're mostly faceless channels.
Yep.
Your journey from contacting some of these people by themselves, some of them contact us. Sometimes we go through an agency, et cetera, different channels.
Yeah. So the short of it is usually what happens from our experience is that, you know, we start a channel starts going, we get an email because we put up a professional email, which, you know, I would recommend everybody doing, right? No matter where you are.
You put up a professional email, like you get a domain name.
Right. Yeah. You would get a domain. Like, so if you're in, like, let's say you're doing, Acme company, right? And so you would have acme.com, right? Like hello@acme.com. And that way, when somebody goes on your YouTube channel, they can find you easily, email you and say, hey, you know, I'm from Amazon and I would love, you know, I'm a partnership from Amazon. And what I want to do is I want to get in contact with you to see if you would work with us in a partnership or a collaboration. And that's usually how it started for us, right? Like what happened, we got an email, somebody asking from a company asking us, would you like to integrate a video and have a sponsor? And now becomes the game of negotiating like the conversation back and forth.
And can you give us some idea? That was a cryptocurrency channel? Is that our first sponsorship?
That was the first one. Yeah.
How many views were we getting? What was that kind of offer that they set?
Yeah. So the first email that we ever got, I believe, one of them was from a video, one of the videos that we had that just exploded and then, like you said, carried over to another video. So it was probably, we weren't even, in terms of subscribers, I think at the time we were probably at like 40,000. You know, it wasn't like, so anybody who's like, you know, nervous about,
and this
like,
was a cryptocurrency news channel where we basically did daily videos on some of the big names that are giving predictions, etc.
Right. And it was just, so we had 40,000 subscribers. I think the video might have done like 15 or 20,000 views. It wasn't a lot. Got an email, went back and forth, a couple emails back and forth, got on a Zoom call, and then just really just negotiated a price. And for us at the time, just starting out, and I would say this to anybody, you want to make that deal work, because for a variety of reasons. But the first one is you just want to get your foot in the door, right? You want to start it, you want to experience it, and show others that you're willing. Like when you run a video and now you have a sponsored video, other companies see that, you know, and even to the point where today I've looked at metrics for what companies are using to find sponsors. They'll either go through an agency or they'll go through a platform, and the amount of sponsorships that a certain channel has got actually piques their interest more. You get higher to the pile, so they want to go find you, right? They're more eager to get in contact with you because you've worked out so many other deals.
So getting a sponsorship kind of like it proves themselves, or proves you to them saying like they're sponsorship worthy.
Yeah.
Now they want to approach you more now.
Yeah.
So and just getting one through the door, even if it's for low money, it gets you a little, you learn more, you get a few more people taking you seriously.
You get experience, you get, you know, more, your reputation grows around that space. You know, for us, we got that first one and then the floodgates opened. Like it was just, you know, month one, it was like we got, 2 emails. The next month we got 7 emails, to the point where we started saying no to certain people, right? Which is probably the last thing I would want to say on this, though, is the only time that I would feel that you would reject that if it doesn't appeal to your audience, right? Like that's probably the first thing that I would do. Like if a company is approaching you and it's a product that you would never use or that you don't believe in, it's not worth it.
It's not worth the quick score. It's just not. Especially in the crypto space where everyone's getting rugged.
Yeah, I mean, there was so many times where we were just like, I mean, the money was there. It was like they were going to overpay by 3 times the amount, and we said no.
And they also would want to pay in their little weird coin.
Yeah.
They'd be like, oh, we'll give you 6,000 in like rug coin. It's like, no thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
As soon as you get it, first of all, it takes them a month to pay you.
Yeah.
That's another problem I have with a lot of the sponsors, is that usually you don't get paid for a month or two, which is fine if they're a reputable company. Yeah. But with these guys, they'd already rugged their coin. and then
Yeah.
giving you double USD in a coin that's worthless now.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
I mean, you shouldn't have to deal with that.
Yeah.
In the crypto space, you do have to deal with that.
It's a little
Fucked
different.
up.
It's different. Whatever space you're in, it's going to be different. The only the three things I want to leave with is that if you were get yourself in a position to first get sponsors, right?
Professional email,
media kit, right? You need to have a media kit because that's almost their first or second question.
like a website where they can kind of like. Do you think a website is necessary?
I mean, a website
doesn't hurt.
Yeah, a website would be like you're putting yourself in a much better position, and if you have other social channels connected to that.
Because if you think about because if you think about somebody who wants to, someone's job who is to go find people to have their company sponsor those videos. Someone has that job.
Yeah.
Make it easy on them.
Right.
Make it so it's clear that you're a professional.
Yeah. Make it so that you can
It doesn't
even
have to be a
the
website, but maybe have an Instagram. Hey, contact me here, and then a professional email. Now they know you're legitimate. You're going to be professional to work with, and you've given them a place where you will respond to them.
Yeah.
We had a website. I felt like that really did help, though.
It did help. I mean,
I think it helps a lot, but I don't think you need it.
you don't need it, but the point is, that we're both making is that you need to put yourself in the position for that opportunity. And the way to do that is the one thing that I think is the future of YouTube is professionalism, right? Like we're getting to a level where we're starting to see videos where the production's higher, the views are getting higher, they're getting sponsored. So like in order to be in that space, I think act to the level of professionalism. If you don't have a LinkedIn, get a LinkedIn. Like if you don't have whatever, just open those doors for an opportunity. The second thing would be get a media kit. That's part of that, but also know who you are as a brand when you go in there, right? Don't sell out, right? Like for a product or a service that you don't believe in, because it's just going to hurt your audience. It's going to hurt your community. And that's the reason why you're on there.
Now I have, would you recommend doing your own outreach to specific things, sponsors? Like let's say you find their sponsor on another video in a popular, you're in whatever niche it is, and then there's sponsors that sponsor the other channels basically. Do you ever reach out to them? Would you recommend reaching out to them and so kind of just outreach yourself, as well as inbound like you just discussed? And would you also recommend an agency who does that for you, but they take a third of the cut? What's your experience with both? I know they both can work.
Yeah, so I mean, it really depends on, again, if you're doing faceless or face, right? Like channels, it depends on the space you're in. Somebody like Diggs, who we worked with before, like he would just automatically, like in his social media, because you can do that now, right? You could just say @Puma, right? That's what he was doing from day one. He would wear Puma gear.
And
he
then
wasn't
they
even
reached
sponsored
out
by
to
it.
him with the eyeballs.
Yeah, and
we
then
see you.
Yeah,
That was
we
cool.
see you. We appreciate you.
Cross-promoting, brand ambassador. It's just a big stream of income. Companies want to be put in front of people. They want to pay. They pay advertisers all the time to advertise to people. Puma is one of my brands. I grew up my whole life loving Pumas to the point where it became something that's a staple of me. People know me for always having different types of Pumas. So I do cross-promotion like that in that situation. Show brand loyalty so that you show them something first. Anything with Puma, I'm committed to them. I wear their shoes all the time. I'm committed to them. And you tag them in everything you do. Let them know. The first thing I got back from Puma was eyeballs on one of my Instagram posts. First thing, we see you.
So you gave first, and they kept coming back.
That's the key to everything. You always give first.
And then they started sending him
shoes
and stuff like that, and now
and he would wrap them in his music videos.
And he would exactly. I mean, that's a super cool way to do it.
Yeah.
Now, what about so you would say yes, that works, reaching out to them, but also think about doing it next level. It's not hard.
Yeah.
Shout them out. Like if you like a company and you would like to work with them, tell them. Show them value first.
Exactly. Like if you are, if you're going to be in the space, if you're the face of the channel, right? Then I think you want to put yourself out there in a creative way. It's almost like putting like resumes, right? Imagine there's 1,000 resumes. How are you going to stand out? Well, you might be a different color, like the paper might be a different color. You might add a video to it, whatever it is, right? The same way, right? If you're going to reach out to a company, because they're getting emails all day, right?
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch. Like now the influencing market is much larger than it was, a week ago, right? So how are you going to stand out? That's one way to do it creatively. The other way is kind of just a tale of what we talked about before. It's just making sure that all your ducks are in a row and you're professional, right? Like you have a media kit, you're ready to go as soon as they approach you. Agency, just to touch on that a little bit, I don't think it hurts to approach an agency. I think it kind of goes in the same vein of, working with any professional, a lawyer, an accountant. There's good ones, there's bad ones. It's the working relationship going back and forth. Like we've kind of, like we've been through the ringer. Like I think we've been through like 3 different agencies at this point, and it feels like, some are better than, obviously some are better than others. But they also some of them will gouge you, right? They'll take 20% for what? What are they doing? Like they're just, they're the middleman, right? So now they're a broker. So, I mean, if you can avoid it, I would. If you focus on just the channel and it gets large enough, at some point you probably will get there anyway. But if you're trying to do it as a smaller channel, get creative.
When do you start looking for a sponsor? Like, because sometimes, you can have all the metrics in the world and you're not getting that much inbound stuff coming in. When should you be aggressive? Like, I don't know how to, and I ask that truly because it's still something we deal with all the time. Is like channel X, Y, or Z is getting some significant viewership.
Yeah,
it needs a sponsor,
and
sometimes you'll get a sponsor that'll be a one and done.
Yeah, and
they'll say, "Hey, let's try it out at $3,000 video," and it comes back and they're like, well, the data doesn't blah, 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 blah. Like, we'd have to do it for this much now if we wanted to move forward. And now we're shortchanging ourselves significantly because we know the value of our impressions, our cost per impression. When do you know it's time to get a sponsor, and how do you know how much you should be making?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. So to know your value, I think that's a very interesting question because, I would always say, look at your CPM that you have. Like if you're getting ad revenue, right, I would look at your CPM that you have already on there and determine that based off of that. So you could start there.
So in general, when you're monetized on YouTube, and generally you probably wouldn't get a sponsor before you're monetized.
Yeah.
Once you're monetized, you will see your CPM. YouTube will tell you.
Yeah, your RPM, your CPM.
Yeah, and your CPM is how much you're getting paid per 1,000 views. Generally, it's anywhere from $5 to $20. Sometimes it's $1 or $2, but if you're in kids or something, but 5 to 20, sometimes way higher.
Yeah.
But so if they're saying your CPM is $20, that's a good starting point for knowing your value. Hey, I get 5,000 views, and every 1,000 is worth $20. I know that. Google's telling me.
Yeah.
So I'm automatically I'm worth at least $100.
Yeah. And then depending on the type of integration they want to do, like is it a mid-roll? Is it a pre-roll? Is it, is it an end roll? Are you doing a dedicated video where 6 minutes are using the product? Like those are vastly different, right? Like,
but for someone starting out, would you say just keep it as simple as possible with like an end roll?
I would keep it, especially when you're dipping your toes, like you're starting out, I would absolutely start with either a pre-roll or an end roll. And I would try and do it in a way that, you touch very lightly on this and you let the sponsor know because it's the first time you're doing it. The last thing you want to do is just cause, an invasive issue with your audience, right? Like they're going along, they love your content, and then out of nowhere, like you throw them this curveball of this sponsor thing in an inappropriate time.
Right.
Like that's, of course there's going to be complaints, but I think that's part of growth, right? So there's a balance there. So I would just say anybody who's ready for that, absolutely reach out to the people. If you already know the sponsors you want to work with, you're already like a leg up. Like start hitting them up, work out a deal. If you don't know, an agency might be a better way to go, but definitely determine your value. Definitely put that in the media kit. Like that's part of the media kit.
Yeah.
And the last thing would always be if somebody comes to you, I try and allow them to send the first, offer.
Yeah, you have the leverage. If they come to you, you have a little bit of leverage. You don't have to, but if you go to them, they have a little bit of leverage.
Yeah.
So maybe we say the first thing would be to get professional. Step one is get professional, get the email, get the place they can definitely contact you where you'll contact them back.
Yeah.
Put that on all your videos.
Build a foundation.
At the top of the
right?
description.
Yeah.
With the professional email. And possibly a website, but not necessary. Second thing would be get creative and reach out to them. Put them in the videos if you want, or send them something, or do what Diggs did and reach out to them. Reach out to them and get creative and stuff like that. And the third thing would, approach agencies. Just know that they're going to take a cut. And I think that all three of these things happen after you're monetized. So you're going to be getting a little money through the door already from YouTube, and they're going to give you data that you're going to need for your media kit. So once you get monetized, you can do that 1, 2, 3.
And there are things out there like Social Blue Book, or there's some other platforms out there that can help you. Like you can log on and they can basically work with you on their analytics. Like you just basically sign on, and then they can kind of tell you like where you would fit. Like we have a couple of those platforms, and I can share those later, but they will tell you like where you fit in that space, like what you're. They kind of determine what you're, like a Kelly Blue Book for YouTube channels, or for any channels, for Instagram, TikTok. So there's predictability measures there.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to make $1 million day one, but then over time you get beat up. It's lonely at the top. Like if you're doing this by yourself and you don't know that other people are suffering, like the camaraderie. If you don't have that, you just feel like you're doing it wrong. Community was what taught me and made me all the money. Really gave me the confidence to keep moving forward. The concept of a community specifically, to move each other up. If there's one thing more important than anything, it's a community of people who are driven, who want to help each other, who want to be successful. A community like that is by far worth more than any of the YouTube videos and stuff you could watch out there. It's a game changer.
Receive it, I seen it, it's cool. Facts. You fake it to fake it, you make it, I take it, reshape it, replacing the truth. I really can't hate it, but the lies are so creative. I don't mean to celebrate it, but it's cool. But look, the more that I deny you, adds the fuel to the fire. Your delusions I desire, but it's cool.